All right, guys, let's take a look at the Graham Chronofighter Pulsometer. So the reason I ended up with this one is I was talking to my buddy Richard over at Saltzmans Watches, and I could easily work with, and I think that's why Richard and I work good together, is I could easily pick like watches that everybody really wants to see, right? Well, that's not what I want to see. I want to have on the channel watches that you don't typically see. I want to experience the watches that you don't typically experience, and I want to share that with you guys. So Richard surprised me again. He's like, how about Graham? And I'm like, I looked at it over on the website and I'm like, those look awesome. I definitely want to see one. I'm like, you pick. And a little bit of me kind of wanted to see the one with like the pinup girls or the nose art girls from the the morale girl pinup style things they put on the nose of wartime aircraft back in the day, like World War II and stuff, because they do some really cool artwork dials. So a little bit of me did want to actually see that. Maybe one day I will, but thankfully he actually sent over this one, which is a much more clean representation of what the brand is typically capable of doing. So let's just get right into it. You can see right away, right? Most people will kind of say it has kind of a steampunk vibe, but steampunk usually is a little more worn or dirty looking. So this would be like before it became steampunk. Like it's clean and built by design this way. It didn't like end up this way or like thrown together. Like this is an actual legitimate purpose-built watch. So we're looking at a 44 millimeter case width here. This is a totally wearable size, guys. Like, don't freak out. It looks maybe large, but it's not. 44, and yes, 52 lug to lug is large, but look how the turn down of the lugs versus the case shape and the bubbling. Like, we'll do a wrist shot. You'll see it's totally usable. 15.5 mil thick double dome sapphire crystal with an amazing AR coating on it. 22 millimeter lug width here. So now, obvious reasons here that it's going to wear good is that massive crown system is over on the other side. So if you're wearing it on your left wrist, I don't know how you'd wear this on your right wrist, but if you're wearing it on your left wrist, you have no protrusions. So like you have total wrist flex. It's totally easy to use. The movement in this, Graham's calling it the G1718. It's really a Valjoux 7750 modded for what they want to do here. You have the day date, the small seconds over here, closer to the 3 o'clock. And then of course you have this quick trigger system here. This is how you're going to manipulate the chronograph hand, or in this case, it's used for a pulsometer, and I'll explain that in a minute. Let's just talk about the watch a little bit more. So this is the silver dial one, and let's zoom in and take a look at that dial and the handset and everything, because it is phenomenal. It is just absolutely beautiful. The attention to detail on the top side of this thing is just amazing, and it's definitely one that you can get lost at just looking because of the sunburst dial. I mean, look at the gold tone on that handset, fully polished, and then also, I don't know if I can get it, with those indices, they're almost like jeweled into the dial. You can see there's chamfered ring that is also the same color as the hands, and then there's a small plot of superluminova submerged down into the dial. So I don't know if it's not so much a sandwich dial as it's almost like it's jeweled in, but they're not jewels, if that makes sense. And then you can see the day date windows are separated and framed out nicely. And right below the day date, you can see right on the dial, it's actually numbered. There's only 250 of these, and this is number 6. So very slick stuff. So now if you look at the top there, it says base 30 pulsations. So the way pulse meters work is they're preset and they should be labeled on the dial, so because you don't always remember everything in the health profession. So sometimes you need a quick reference. So base 30 means that when you time this, you're going to count on the patient or subject or whatever, you're going to count 30 beats of their heart rate. And then once you do that, you stop the chronograph. And then over here, you'll have this register wherever wherever you hit 30 and you stopped it, that's how many beats per minute they're doing. So does that make sense? I think that's a pretty clear explanation of it. I don't know really how to explain it other than that. So display case back, also sapphire crystal. I can't peel off this back thing. It's an agreement I have with Saltzmans. It's a brand new watch. I'm not allowed to, strip it of its brand new parts. So you can see marked right on the rotor, regulated to 5 positions. So it's crazy accurate, and the movement's not decorated basically at all, but it's a good, awesome movement, and it's regulated. So I think it would have been cool if it was decorated a little bit more, but I'm fine with it not being decorated. But maybe you're not. I mean, it carries a hefty price tag, $54.50. I'm sure you're going to get some sort of discounts on that. You can look at the case shape here. There's a lot going on. You have that concave bezel leading up to the sapphire crystal, and then the main part of the watch is bellied out. And then you have a kind of thick case back there. That's because it's a day, and an automatic chronograph. So it's a thick movement. It just has to be. So let me zoom back in a little bit here, and let's operate this chronograph. Well, I'll put it on wrist as well, but so maybe I should put it on wrist to do it. But so when it's on wrist, it's actually by design super easy to use. So when it's on wrist, it's easy to grab with your right hand. So typically your right hand dominant person, you're going to wear the watch on your left hand. So you're going to take your dominant hand, you're going to come over here, and then you're going to push this while your left hand is actually taking the pulse of your subject. So you go ahead and click it, and you count the pulses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, up to 30. And hopefully they're not at 200. Hopefully they're at an acceptable range for a healthy individual for whatever they're in there for. But let's just say they're right there or whatever. We'll go ahead and stop it. So there you would have your patient at, fairly higher resting heart rate, but maybe they need some meds or something. And then you go ahead and reset that, and it just snaps right back. So very simple concept, and it works great. I think pretty much everybody in the health profession could pretty much dig having one of these. Yeah, you could have a digital watch or something like that. Or, you can just mark the time, optically. You don't have to actually set it. But this one is purpose designed for that profession, and it's awesome. There it is on my 7 1/4 wrist. There is a perfect example, and it's hard to do because, how pictures and video and stuff, the watch always looks huge. This legit works on my wrist. I could easily wear this watch all day long. There's no hot spots. Like I said, you get total wrist deflection with no irritation or annoying crown digging in. So this is easily an all-day watch. So if you're in the health profession and you're looking for a purpose-built watch for your job, maybe look at the Graham. I think it's a sweet option. It's definitely different. It's going to get attention, and it's going to be useful for you. You have your day date, you have your time, and you're able to do the pulsations with it. So it's totally usable for that type of purpose. So, and it's comfortable. Talk about a conversation piece as well. So, all right, let me pop this guy off wrist here, and then we'll do a lume shot. It's some sort of super luminova on there, so I expect some illumination. I'm not going to, be surprised if it's not like phenomenal. It's not going to be like Seiko Lume or anything like that, but we're going to get some lume out of this guy. So let's do that right now. And again, big thanks to Richard over at Saltzmans for lending this in. This is a very expensive watch, and there's almost no way that I was ever going to see this watch other than, Saltzmans working with me and sending this over. So to the naked eye, the lume is actually kind of impressive, even for those small indices shoved all the way out to the far part of the dial. And then in low light, the shimmer off that dial, I mean, look at that. That is amazing. This thing in low light is killer looking. So, all right, guys, if you have any questions on it, hit me up. I'll try to answer them the best I can, but I'll put links down in the description, like I try to, directly to Saltzmans, where you can buy it. Tell Richard I sent you. And also I'll put a link directly to the Graham website. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next vid.